Welcome to Heart, Cat and Soul, a podcast designed to unravel the mysteries of the feline world on a physical, emotional, and energetic level. You are more than capable of connecting with your cat, but the hassle and bustle of life and the noise in our minds don't always let us truly listen. My name is Amaya Spindola, and I invite you to join me on this journey created for you to unlock the full potential of your relationship with your cat. Hello and welcome back to another episode. We are very close to Christmas and I'm going to take a couple of weeks there, but I'll be back as soon as possible. And I was thinking I'm doing something about Christmas. But if you have questions about that, just ask me around in social media or anywhere, and I'll be happy answering all those questions. But today, I think the best gift we can give our cats is good nutrition. So we're going to dive in an important question that it's always surrounding cats. So why do cats need meat in their diet? It's kind of, yes, they are carnivores, but no, but this and that. So we're going to answer that question. If you ever wonder why your cat craves certain foods or why processed diets can sometimes lead to issues, this episode is here to break it all down. We'll explore the biology, behavior, and common myths surrounding feline nutrition, giving you the tools to make informed choices for your cat. Biologically, cats are obligate carnivores, meaning their bodies have evolved to rely on nutrients found exclusively in animal tissue. Both their physiology and behavior reflect this fact. Take their liver, for example. If we look at the cat's liver, we can see that they lack or they have a very reduced amount of the enzyme glucokinase, which is essential for processing carbohydrates. Instead, their bodies are highly efficient at converting protein into glucose, which is a characteristic typical of carnivores. They use amino acids as their primary energy source. When we are feeding them a high-carb diet, we place unnecessary strain on their liver and pancreas, often leading to conditions like pancreatitis. And did you know that around 60% of cats examined post-mortem show signs of pancreatitis regardless of the cause of death? This is a study that it's quite we can say recent, but this is actually telling us something, right? Another serious issue linked to diet is the fatty liver, or the feline hepatic lipidosis, if we're going to talk properly. This is potentially a fatal condition that can develop when a cat stops eating for 36, 48 hours, 72 maybe, or longer, particularly in overweight cats. When their bodies mobilize fat reserves for energy, the liver processes this fat inefficiently, causing that fat to accumulate within the liver cells. This impairs the liver function and can lead to severe complications. But interestingly, it's not just dietary fat, but the excess of carbohydrate that are stored as fat in the liver that exacerbate this problem. Without prompt treatment, with the intensive nutritional support, hepatic lipidosis can be life-threatening. So on the other hand, cats on natural diets are better equipped to handle occasional fasting, providing when they are not stressed, of course, because sometimes it's not about whether they can fast or not, it's how they emotionally react to it. And this is and if we manage to do a safe fasting for them, it can be very beneficial as it is on any other mammal in the world. So cats also require specific nutrients that are really cat-specific and carnivore-specific, such as taurine, arginine, and arachidonic acid, all found abundantly in animal tissue. A deficiency in any of these can lead to severe health issues, including blindness, heart disease, or an immune dysfunction in general. And some people would ask, well, but if I'm feeding a natural food, why should I add more taurine, for example? The slightest process that you give to food will reduce the amount of taurine. For example, even if you freeze it, that can, since it's a hydrosoluble molecule, it will go with the blood when you try to when you try to defrost. So, or for example, if you ground the food or whatever you do, mince it, you can lose a little bit of taurine. So to be safe, and since it's something that it's not possible to give an excess of, I would always suggest putting taurine into the foods. Even if you give heart and any others, the meat that we used to have is not the same that we have today. And as I said, it's very important for them. So while processed foods, going back because I had to make that note, while processed foods often add synthetic versions of these nutrients, there is no substitute for the natural forms found in fresh meat, nor in the absorption, nor in how sometimes they can be damaging in dosaging. When you feed the natural food, it's linked to other things and it helps the absorption. It allows the biodisponibility of that food, availability, about that food. I'm inventing words now. So it is very important that the better the ingredient as whole as it is much better. Okay, just to be clear on that. So moving on. If we look at the behavioral side, everything about a cat screams hunter. From their sharp teeth to short digestive tracts are the muscular builds, they're built for the hunt. Even their instinct to play with a toy or their food, because a toy or food, same things, mimics that hunting behavior, reinforcing their predatory nature. So when we disrupt this natural cycle with ultra-processed diets, it doesn't just impact their health, it can lead to behavioral changes. Cats on these diets often exhibit anxiety, over grooming, or aggression. I had several clients calling me for using any weight-controlled prescription diet, and suddenly their cat became aggressive or anxious, and actually they're all a little bit linked. It's not, a cat is never aggressive. It has a reason to behave the way it does. So food is very important. There is an emotional side of food that we need to consider. And the other important thing about the behavioral issues that we can find in cats with food is the way they feel safe. There is a kind of a pleasure onto it. So it's called like emotional eating. And we're going to talk about a little bit later on this. So without the stimulation and nutrients provided by a biologically appropriate diet, cats can fully express their natural instincts. Actually, there is a interesting study about this, where it showed that when cats are fed a natural diet and they play with them, let's say for 10, it was not too much, 10 to 15 minutes, like every meal, before every meal, the cats really decrease their hunting behavior outside. So it's safer for all the fauna that we have in our places. So it's a little bit safer to leave them outdoor, because otherwise they are actually killing loads of birds and other animals around, and they're not necessarily eating them, but that's kind of the boredom they have inside indoors, that they need to fulfill those natural instincts that they have. So we need to consider this when we feed our cats natural diet. It hydrates the body, it has so many benefits, it works on the behavior, it actually makes them a cat, which is what they are. And there's no excuse for this. So I think we need to go back to this. Whether it's cooked or raw, we can discuss that later. But it has to be like the whole ingredient. It is kind of the full process of hunting and eating, and actually chewing would be perfect. And many cats won't do this. But we need to consider those three things. Okay. So continuing with some of the myths around food with cats, and natural food especially, is that high protein diets can cause kidney disease. So let me clarify this. if you are a carnivore that you need proteins and you are very efficient, it is contradictory to think that it can be harmful for them in for them, because that's it's like this machine works with this kind of protein or amino acids, but now no, it's harmful. So there is a secret to this, and the thing is that when we talk about protein, it's not exactly like, oh, high protein diets, all high protein diets can cause kidney disease. We have to look not at the quantity but at the quality of that protein. Protein is essential for cats. We need to clarify this. We need to be sure and just fixate that. It may be a concern about how much the quantity, the protein intake only in the late stages of kidney disease. And even then, the focus should always be on the quality rather than eliminating it altogether. So think about, and if you want to know more about kidney disease, you should go and check my seminar that I have on Judy U website, Judy Morgan's platform for education. And I have a full, it's an hour and something long for everybody, every pet parent that has a cat with kidney disease. The other myth is about fish. It's the only source of omega-3 fatty acids. While fish can be beneficial, there are other excellent alternatives. If you use like the best type of meat you can get, grass-fed, organic meat, that will be a really good source already of omega-3, as well as organs. For example, brain matter has like a lot of DHA, so it's really good, and it's actually one of the best options if cat were always liking it. Also, organic eggs. So you have other options if your cat won't have any fish or doesn't like the taste, like my cat doesn't like any taste of oily taste. He will rather have a little bit more organ or organic eggs or anything else, or even salmon, just like that, before having any oil. He doesn't like the taste or the texture. So think about this if you're having troubles with that. But all these foods can provide a balanced omega-3, omega-6, right? Because all of them, they have both of them. And it promotes like a good, healthy skin, coats, and an overall well-being. There's also like a very interesting study about omega-3s in cats and toxoplasma risk of infection. I think that it's on one of the conferences of the Raw Feeding Veterinary Society. It's a talk that I gave, let's say like 3 years ago, but you can search in Vimeo and take a look at that. There is a full talk about it, and it's very interesting. Anyway, I will probably talk about toxoplasma near maybe next year. I don't know. I still need to check the calendar. But we're going to keep talking about it because it's very important to have a good balanced omega-3, omega-6 ratio for our cats, especially if they go outdoors. So if meat is so essential, why do cats prefer kibble? This is kind of the question every single time. They are very addictive to that. And actually, processed foods are engineered to be highly palatable and addictive, overriding all cats' natural instincts. So let me explain a little bit what addiction means, because we overlook about this, or sometimes we call it a disease. But the problem with addiction is that the true feeling of someone that is addictive is to feel good, is to cover or like to escape from a situation that they don't like, so they feel better with this addictive product. For cats, and this is for humans, of course, right? I'm talking about there are many things we often associate addiction with drugs, but there are many kind of addictions. Even working can be an addiction. Even doing your favorite hobby for a long time can be an addiction. As long as you are escaping from something, that's anyway it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's like you don't want to face whatever it is that is going on. So for cats, it's the same process. They are feeling better. They are hedonistic animals. They really like the pleasure of things. They enjoy, they contemplate, they live in the present. But often they are very prone to addiction just because they like to feel better. Or if you adopted that cat from a traumatic situation and they were they didn't have access to food before, or maybe the opposite, or they were not with their mothers, they couldn't grow up with their own mothers and brothers and sisters. That's kind of things that the animal will feel insecure, and all those things can be in a way soften with something that tastes good, that it's addictive, and we eat emotional eating. This is the emotional eating. Also, if you have cats that live with other cats and they have this insecurity in their within themselves, that thing can also make them feel unsafe when they're eating with somebody else. So they may have addictive behaviors when nobody's watching, or they might eat fast, or there are some behaviors around this that we need to look. And it's not only caused by that addiction, it's also caused by that high palatable and addictive food. It's like giving sugar to a kid. Okay, so we need to understand this, that it's not like, oh, my cat is picky, he's difficult to change, he doesn't like this or doesn't like that. We need to look further into their behaviors in order to transition them to a fresh, species appropriate food. There is always a possibility to breaking these habits and reawaking their instincts. And as I always say, to every behavioral problem, try to find that cat that it's inside your cat. The true cat, it's in there. And you need to find it and expose it and reawake it. Okay? So I know it's very short terms about this, but you can look into addiction for humans and not from the disease perspective, but on this other perspective, and it will help you a little bit to understand how the brain works when this is happening. If you want to make it easier, of course, I have another course about this. It's transitioning your cat to a different food, also available on JudyU platform. So I would leave all the necessary links on the description just in case. But I'm gonna give you some tips to make the transition a little bit easier for your cat. So first of all, reduce your expectations. Start slow. Gradually mix small amounts of meat into their food. But I said that wrong. It's not exactly mixing it. Just place a little bit of meat next to the food. Even it could be in another plate close to the feeding bowl, or it could be on the edge of that plate. Whatever it is, you are certain that you're gonna throw out that piece of meat, because you're only trying to reprogram their brains, right? So what are you going to be doing is, okay, this food that I'm eating, that's the normal food that they are used to having, that's safe. But now there is a small piece nearby. So if you do that repeatedly, just a small piece of meat around it, it could be cooked or not, whatever is your next goal, right? It could be just to live a tablespoon of the canned food if still meat is not an option. But it doesn't matter, whatever you're trying to change to, okay? Just simply every day, just place a little bit of that, just a little bit, next to the food that they are eating, not mixed. First, because some cats will react poorly to mixed things. But nearby, it's something that they will see it every day, every time, and on a certain point, they're going to just simply eat it. And trust me, usually happens. Then try to mimic that hunting. If we're trying to awake those instincts, engage with your cat's predatory instincts by playing before their meals. So as you can see, I'm not suggesting any ad libitum or free feeding all the time. You need to create meals in their food. There is a thing with we need to be cautious with kibble, because when they eat kibble, they usually have like hunger flares or something like that. They have like this they are hungrier every day. It's like when you eat sugar. So in a few minutes you're hungry again, right? So if you're feeding kibble, and I suggest that you still don't do free feeding, what I would do is place it on toys. So they would actually play with their food to get their reward. So you're doing just the first two, you're doing it. They are going to eat slow. You can still add a little bit of piece of meat or canned food or anything that your next step is. And you're going to be mimicking that hunting behavior. If you even play with them before some part of that food, then even better. And then please be patient. Most of the times when it fails, it's because we are not patient. And you have to realize that addiction, in a sense of human medical awareness, addiction can take up to 6 weeks to start changing. So the brain takes its time. So it can take you weeks, it can take you months to adjust. And we usually keep the previous food, the addictive food, around, and they have a really good sense of smell. So if you need help, of course, I'd be happy to help you, because it's one of the most amazing things for me. I really love to transition a cat to another food, because I struggled with one of my cats, and now and I managed. I found a way to make it happen. And I think we all should get that. It's a really good investment that you can do for your cat, for their health and happiness. It's not just about the food itself. It's about everything. Okay? It's the best thing you can do for your cat. So, as I said before, there are so many resources I can give you. There are 2 courses on the Judy Morgan's platform, Judy U. One, it's transitioning your cat to a different diet. That's even longer. I think it's almost 2 hours or something like that. And then you have the kidney disease one. I'll be uploading new courses, but it takes time, Then you have a new free nutrition guide available on my website, velvet.co.uk. And you have, there's one thing also that I forget. I'm forgetting. And the lecture that I gave for the Raw Feeding Veterinary Society, that you can find on the Raw Feeding Veterinary Society Vimeo's channel. You will find the toxoplasma, or the parasite thing, that I've done for one of the conferences, if you want to learn why omega-3s are important. Also, there is another lecture that I gave for those conferences, that it's about the best start for kittens, and very interesting, both of them, if you're looking to understand nutrition a bit better for cats. So after all this offering and resources that I gave you, I think it's time to wrap it up and say goodbye. I hope there's going to be one more episode, and then I'm going to take a break. Let's say for a couple of weeks before, or a month, I don't know. Because there are some things changing, and I really would like to take the time to focus on them, and then be back with more energy and more stuff for you. After all this, I'm doing it for you. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.